Numerous reports are starting to claim that the Syrian regime is beginning to realize that they have done a dire mistake by sending their military and their jihadist factions to go down and slaughter the Druze community in an attempt to ethnically cleanse the entire Druze community or bring them under the extremist Salafi Sharia law. It seems that Julani have misunderstood the Israeli and the American willingness to come to the negotiation table and possibly normalize the relationship with Israel, with America, with the West by joining the Abraham Accords, seeing this as a green light to go and slaughter minorities. Now they're realizing that was a terrible mistake and it backfired in their face, exposing their true identities. Syria have become an extremist Salafi Muslim nation. For those of you who don't know what is Salafi mean and Salafi Sharia law, the Salafis are a radical factions in Islam that takes the Quran teachings to the extreme. So when we say a Salafi Sharia that is going to the extreme in the limits of Islam, in the limits of the teaching of Quran. Whatever they can pull to the extreme without crossing these boundaries, they will do. There is Muslim countries that have Sharia law, but way more moderate Sharia law, and there's a lot of room for interpretation in the teaching of Islam of how do you want to treat minorities, women, children, underage marriage, the status of other religions under that Sharia law, and the Salafis are the extreme of that religion. Now, the Syrian government have been demanding from the Druze to lay down their weapon. Meanwhile, they're not demanding from the jihadists, including foreign fighters that came from Chechnya and all over the globe, to lay down their weapon. And even further, arming these jihadists, supporting these jihadists, including foreign fighters, jihadists from all over the globe that came, giving active ISIS and Al-Qaeda terrorists weapons, military support, fighting alongside with them, but they want to take the weapons from the Druze, the Christians, and any minority that might need to defend itself from these jihadists. So you can understand why the Druze did not want to agree to these rules. History in Syria have shown that Christian churches are being bombed, Alawites are being slaughtered in the streets, beheading men, raping women, stealing little girls as slaves. It's happening all in Syria right now. So minorities in Syria don't really feel safe with the government of Julani, given the track record that Julani is a former ISIS and Al-Qaeda terrorist. Now, Julani came with a very bizarre announcement. He's a very charismatic guy, and he make it sound very calming, very appeasing, saying that Syria is a nation for all of its citizens, that their intention is to protect these minorities, but the facts on the ground are speaking otherwise. Syrian regime tanks, artillery, military drones, alongside with the Bedouin jihadists, have went into Druze villages, slaughtering, killing, butchering anything in their way, burning, looting. Things that we've seen on October 7th, things that we've been seeing in Afghanistan and Iraq are happening right now in Syria. The Syrian regime had a chance to take itself to a better place, and instead they chose to create an extremist Muslim ummah over Syria. Now, up until now, they managed to fool the West and to give them the impression that they want to create a better Syria, they want to make a more peaceful country, create relationship with the West. But it seems like all of this was a lie in order to give them the green light to go and slaughter minorities. How do I know that? Because we just saw that. They interpreted the willingness of America to negotiate with them, the willingness of Israel to come to the negotiation table and maybe have one day peace with Israel as a green light to go and exterminate the Druze and the Christians in that mountain, hence exposing the original plan of ethnically cleansing all of Syria. Israel came and said, not gonna happen. Julani came and said, it's gonna happen. Israel went and started bombing tanks and military equipment in Syria, including the Pentagon of Syria and Damascus. Julani the coward ran away to Turkey to hide with his friends and send an indirect message to Julani that he is next if he doesn't stop killing minorities in Syria. Julani the coward ran away to Turkey to hide with his buddies. And soon enough, a declaration for a ceasefire came. Stop, we're gonna stop massacring minorities. Please don't kill Julani. And lay waste the Syrian jihadist army with the proxies of all of his jihadists that came from all around the world. Because Israel can do that pretty easily. Let's be honest about that. They're fighting like idiots. A ceasefire that did not last a day. Broken again right now as we're speaking. Twice already the ceasefire was broken by the Muslim jihadists and the government army as they kept going slaughtering innocent Christians and Druze in the mountain of Suwayda. And what might be baffling you the most is why is America and Europe still supporting the Julani regime? Why are they still trying to tell you that he's a good guy just because he's looking like a hipster now? Sorry guys, someone who was in ISIS and one day trim his beard and put a blazer does not make him a hipster, does not make him a good guy. He have clear intentions of eradicating, ethnically cleansing minorities in Syria as we're speaking. How do I know? Because we're seeing it live happening. They're beheading them, they're killing them, they're kidnapping their women and daughter, they're burning them alive, they're chanting Allah Akbar as they're doing that. They're coming in saying, the army sent us to do it, the government sent us to do it. They're literally admitting it. It's all over the media, but this might be coming as a surprise for many of you because you probably didn't hear it on your mainstream media. So why is mainstream media hiding from you again? What is happening in the Middle East? And I tell you even what, rumors are trying to surface that Israel is waiting to go and just send these bastards to hell. But America keeps telling them, hold on, waiting for a ceasefire. Let me tell you something. By the time we might get the third ceasefire that's going to be broken right after it, there will probably not be left a single Druze or Christians in that mountain. They will be exterminated. Could it be that the radical Muslim world is again lying to the West and telling, no, we want peace, while going and killing, exterminating, just seeing that it works? After all, they've seen that this works. It worked in the past, it's working now. It worked with Hamas, it worked with Palestine, it worked with Fatah, it worked with Hezbollah, it worked with Iran. They keep lying to the West, but for some bizarre reason, your leaders keep falling for that. I don't know why. Either they have very bad counsel, or I'll let you make your assumptions by yourself. But one thing is for sure. There is an ongoing real genocide, not the made-up pro-Palestine watermelons genocide, that is happening right now on peaceful minorities in the Middle East by radical Muslims to non-Muslims, Christians, Druze, and other minorities. And the only one that is trying to stop it is Israel. And the only one that is getting heat for trying to save minorities, innocent people, from being slaughtered in the most horrific way is Israel. I'm getting reports from people live in Syria sending me horrific messages, families crying, asking me to look for their loved ones that have been killed, missing, asking me to tell the world that they just saw their children burned alive, having their heart plucked out of their chest. A father walked into a house to find his little kid dead and his heart plucked out of his chest by these jihadists, asking me to send that message to you so you can spread it with the world. This is very, very important. This might be the most important video I've done so far. Please help share that. Please help stop a real, actual genocide that is happening right now in the Middle East by the bad guys on the good guys, but the media is trying to make it look like the good guys are the bad guys are the good guys. They're literally saying that the Druze have committed acts of terrorism and the government have sent their tanks and their soldiers to go and defend the innocent Muslims because the Druze are trying to exterminate, to genocide the Muslims in Syria. How ridiculous and pathetic this can be. The Druze are a minority in Syria. And if they're trying to genocide the Muslims, then how come all the tanks and drones and military equipment and jihadists and foreign jihadist fighters from Chechnya are all flocking into the mountain of the Druze, killing them in their homes, burning them alive in their houses, if they're the one trying to genocide the ones that are actually doing that to them? That is Western media's logic, because they don't take you seriously anymore. They think that you are a bunch of fools and they can tell you whatever they want and you're gonna believe it. The brother-in-law of Al-Julani, and I'm gonna finish with this one, have came and gave a fatwa. For those who don't know what's a fatwa is a religious permission, basically, for all the Muslim jihadist fighters that they're allowed to take Druze women and daughters as sex slaves once they finish killing their fathers, their husbands, and their brothers. That is Syria right now for you in a nutshell. And let me tell you another secret. It's not a minority in Syria. It's a majority of the Syrians. And there is peaceful Syrians. They talk to me as well. Most of them are ex-Muslims, just don't dare saying it because they will be killed under the Salafi Sharia law, the extremist Sharia law that is in Syria. But they're afraid to speak because they will be next if they speak. If you care about the Middle East, if you care about Syria, if you care about the peaceful, loving, kind human beings in that region, speak now. Hold your governments accountable. Hold Western media accountable for the damage that they're doing all around the globe. My name is Mansu and this is my podcast, and please help us share this with the world. Do not let this happen under your nose.